Truck 17, come in.
Go ahead, Truck 17.
Primary complete.
Command Southeast, primary complete.
What's up, folks, and welcome to another episode of Primary Complete. Before we kick off the show, do us a quick favor. Like and subscribe. At the end of the show, if you enjoyed it, leave a quick comment. These simple little things make our platform more visible to folks who are looking for the type of show that we produce. For all of you who are constantly interacting with us on social media, talking about the show in your firehouses and with your friends, we can't say thank you enough for helping us build this awesome community. If you haven't yet, check out the social media. Search Primary Complete Podcast on Insta, Facebook, TikTok. Give it a quick like. We also got a website. Feel free to check that out. www.primarycompletepodcast.com. Thank you all once again. Enjoy the next episode and continue to help us make conversation great again. So Trevor Williams with LA County Fire, the creator of the Williams Key. We'll get into that a little bit in detail. But how long have you been with LA County?
I've been with LA County 7 years. So that was like my dream department. And 4 years volunteer before that for the city of Sierra Madre. And I also did LA County's Explorer program for about 5 or 6 years, which is where a kid wants to be a firefighter and he does training with the department. Right. Have you always been a Cali boy? No. So I grew up as a missionary and I lived all over the world. Was born in Virginia, lived in Africa for a couple years. Zaire, it was called Zaire at the time. Now it's Democratic Republic of Congo. Was there during the Rwanda genocides, and Rwanda bordered Zaire, so we were affected by that. Eventually ended up moving to South Africa, kind of take refuge there. South Africa wasn't much better. It seemed better, but it was a very dangerous place. And then back to Zaire, which had been name changed at that point due to the war, to Democratic Republic of Congo. So that's how I got my start, as a young kid. Eventually ended up moving to Connecticut on the East Coast. And you guys are East Coast, right?
Yes, sir.
Earliest podcast I've done, by the way. It was cool waking up.
We got you up early
spend some time with you guys.
Yeah, thanks.
So Connecticut for a little bit, and then ended up moving to Haiti, the island of Haiti, which people know about now, but at that time nobody had heard of Haiti, and people know about it now due to the 2010 Haiti earthquake, which I was in, and we can talk about that in a little bit. But when we went, nobody knew what the heck Haiti was.
Right.
And for your listeners, it's an island in the Caribbean attached to the Dominican Republic. People know Dominican Republic. Some people vacation there. So Haiti and Dominican make up the island of Hispaniola. It's about 565 miles south of Florida, and it's the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. So we lived there for a couple of years, and kind of the same deal as Africa. It was really tough over there. There was civil unrest going on. The President Aristide at the time, he was being overthrown. So riots in the street, gunfire, dead bodies, the whole gambit of bad stuff was occurring while we were there.
How was Christianity received in Haiti? I've never thought of that as being a real strong
question. That's a great question.
Yeah.
So Haiti, the way I like to put it is everybody believes something. The spiritual realm over there is very real, and voodoo is one of the main practiced religions. And you're either voodoo or Christian, and you either believe in God, or I think both sides believe in God, but one just chooses not to follow God,
right?
To do the voodoo stuff. So
yeah, my mom and dad actually went after the earthquake as well. They're super heavily involved in their local church, and they went over there. I don't remember what year. I'll have to get clarification on the year, but I know after the earthquake, they went over there and spent some time over there doing some work. My dad's a licensed pharmacist, and my mom's was a nurse for a million years. So they, there's a doctor, and he kind of formed this team, and they've been there. They've been Chile. They've been several places. But I remember them going to Haiti, and I remember hearing them tell stories about the almost the same way that you just described it, as in that there's two beliefs, and it's either you believe in Christianity or you're into the voodoo world and the voodoo practices. But there's almost not a gray area. It's like one or the other, hot and cold in either, and that's it.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. If you're a spiritual type of person, you kind of feel the heaviness once you step off that plane in Haiti, and it's hard to describe to somebody who hasn't been there or experienced something spiritual in that way. But
how would you describe that feeling? How would you describe it?
It's almost like a sixth sense where I notice it as soon as I step off the plane, and it's like it's almost like your situational awareness, but at a spiritual level, where you're like, for me at least, there's like certain areas where I feel like more unsafe, and I don't know why. And then I'm like, okay, this is probably like maybe like a lot of voodoo goes on here, and just certain people I don't trust, or the opposite of that, where I'm like, okay, this is like a really good area to be in, or a really good person, and
you think it's
it
comparable
is hard to
to
describe, but I think that's how I would put it.
You know how you get that feeling like somebody's looking at me, and you could just be in a crowded place. It seems like what you're describing is similar to that.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
So what age were you when you went to Haiti?
Let's see. I moved there. I was about to turn 13.
13. And you were in Africa prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it sounds like a lot of exposure to a lot of things that people will never see in their life and probably don't really care about or seem interested in, that you were all exposed to at a crazy young age.
Yeah. Hey, the Africa stay, did you have to pretend to be there for a different reason? Like, could you be there as Christians and it be safe, or?
So we were Christians while we were there. And when I say missionary, a lot of people jump right to like, oh, your dad must be a pastor and you guys are preaching the gospel. The type of missionary work we did was through World Vision, which is a large nonprofit organization, Christian based.
Right.
And they do a whole slew of things. So they do clean water projects, education, house building, farming, and there's you can sponsor kids through World Vision, and I think that's what a lot of people associate when I say World Vision. They'll be like, oh, I sponsor kids through them. So we did, I would classify it as emergency relief work.
Okay.
Yeah.
And and the ministry was there too. As we were doing what we were doing, we could also share our faith, and that seemed to be well received. But we weren't. Yeah, my dad's not a pastor, and it wasn't specifically church planting, if you will.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's the same way with my mom and dad. They weren't in. I mean, they were involved based upon their faith, but they weren't over there church planting like you just explained, or holding tent revivals and stuff like that. They were just working in the medical aspect of everything, and through those connections with the local people, that's where they were given the opportunity to to share their faith and whatnot. So that's really cool. I imagine it does seem to fall on receptive ears a little easier when you're doing something helpful versus, faith can be kind of pushy sometimes. I'm sure you've had experiences with that and you're aware of it, but when you're there to serve a purpose, and you're able to share your faith through that, it seems to be received a little bit better. Like the barrier or the guard of the person you're trying to share with is not quite raised so high.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, the guard's down. They want your help. You're there for multiple reasons, and if you just so happen to tell them about God, that's probably cool too. They'll
Yeah,
definitely be more
absolutely.
receptive to that. So, and yeah, in a place like Haiti, they're more open to it, I think, because people rely on prayer to make it through the day. Because you're maybe not going to make it through that day. Like you
Right.
might get one meal, or you might catch a stray bullet or something. It's just a dangerous place, and
Wow.
you're always like thinking, "Oh, it's today the day." Even as a kid over there, I was like a day at a time. Like I was seeing the effect of like friends are getting kidnapped, and like you see death every day. So you're like, "Is that going to be me today?"
That's wild, man. Yeah.
I can't imagine. So from Haiti, where do we go from Haiti?
Haiti, Connecticut, and that was kind of the cool down area.
Civilization.
Yeah.
I bet that was an interesting but relieving transition there from Haiti, a third world country, or maybe even worse than a third world country,
And hot.
during that time
Yeah.
to Connecticut. Climate changes, everything changes.
Yeah. I'm sorry. From Haiti was California.
Okay.
Connecticut was after Africa.
Okay. All right. So Africa,
my bad.
Connecticut, Haiti, California.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
tracking now.
California, I was 15 when moved out here, and I'm still here, and I've been here the longest. Been here close to 20 years. I'm 33 now, so 18 years, and
Okay.
it was kind of like dumped in California. Okay, now what do I do? Because I was moving at such a intense pace in Haiti, where now it's like, okay, man, you're like, you made it, you're safe, worry about being a kid again. And I had to figure that out. I'd grown up most of my life overseas, so I was figuring out America a little bit. As a teenager, you're just figuring out life in general. So people started asking me, what are you going to do with your life? They always ask you that when you're in high school.
Right.
Of course.
And at that point, I didn't really know. And people started mentioning, oh, maybe firefighting might be up your alley. So I looked into that, and I was like, oh, yeah, I dig this. I get to keep helping people. I've always been pretty physically fit and active, and would continue to do that. And that was almost promised, the whole career, unless you let yourself go and all that stuff. But
Right.
it's right there for you, so no excuse really. And so I got involved with the Explorer program. I went to the closest fire station and inquired about what do I have to do to be a firefighter. And they said, oh, we have this great program. It's called the Explorer program. You can come here and train with us from the ages of 15 and a half all the way up to 21. And so, yeah, pretty soon I was like cutting my hair and shaving and getting rid of all the necklaces and bracelets and getting a clean appearance and learning how to say yes, sir, and do the push-ups and everything, clean toilets. So I did that, and they have a program where if you get selected, if you're one of the top guys, you can go do an academy, and they'll put you through an Explorer Academy. Once you do that, you're allowed to do the 24-hour ride-alongs. I know some departments it's less structured and you can just kind of do whatever you want, but with this department, there's a very specific way that you go about it, and like a chain of command and a hierarchy. And once you go through that Explorer program, you're a certified Explorer. You can do those ride-alongs, and more is expected of you, and you're kind of on your way of being what the department would want to hire. So I did ride-alongs as many as I could. I was going through school at the same time, but on the weekends, I'd try and pick up a 24-hour shift ride-along. Every weekend, we have 177 fire stations, so there's a lot to pick from. So I'd start picking all the busiest houses, and I knew after that first ride along, I knew before that, but that kind of set it in stone. Like, yeah, this is what you were meant to do, and I loved it. And blood is not for everybody, or being in scary situations or getting yelled at. But I dug it, and I still love it. And now here we are, 18 years later, and I still enjoy going to work every day.
What a great path.
Yeah, no doubt. I was just reflecting on that pipeline for a super young person
Mm-hmm.
to enter into this career that we love so much that's a very, very refreshing perspective to know that's happening in places. That's really cool. There, as far as I know, there's nowhere in North Carolina here that does anything even close to that. Different departments have Explorer programs, but it's not to the level that you just described.
Mm-hmm.
That way, the way that y'all are doing it seems like it gives the person plenty of opportunity to experience things at different levels, as well as make up their mind if this is something they want to pursue, or something, maybe that's not for me. And on the department side of the coin, when they come out of that certified explorer program that you just described, kind of what you're getting. This person's dedicated enough to have gone through this much already. That's got to be pretty cool for department heads and stuff like that to have that pool of people to choose from. Quick question: you said there was 177 firehouses for the department that you work for. Do all the houses kind of receive these certified explorers kind of the same? Is it kind of just like a community-based thing throughout the department that everybody knows? Or is it just certain departments that participate in the program? You can only go to these dozen or 2 dozen firehouses because they're the ones that support it, or is it pretty much departmentally supported?
Everybody supports the explorers. Each so for your listeners who don't know how all the fire stations work in the big departments, so
That's me.
each department is broken down into battalions, and each battalion has a bunch of stations underneath it. So each battalion has its own explorer post, and we have 22 battalions, so 22 explorer posts, and then you can ride out anywhere. Like somebody in battalion 1 can go to battalion 20 and do a ride along still. So that being said, each battalion is getting explorers going to all their stations. Now, there's slower stations out there who probably never get explorers just because an explorer wants that call volume and experience. So some of the stations don't make a lot of sense, or they don't have an extra bed. Like there's some 3-person houses where they only have room for 3 people and they're maxed out. Whereas the station I'm at West Hollywood, Fire Station 8, and we're one of the biggest houses, and we have 13 people per shift, and we have extra beds. So we see explorers. But yeah, you can go anywhere. Actually, you can go more places as an explorer than I can as a firefighter, because an explorer can go to those specialty houses that do hazmat or that do USAR, or paramedic. There's some paramedic only stations. Explorer can go and do that. But now that I'm a firefighter and on the job, I'm limited to my skill sets.
Sure.
Imagine the loyalty and the trust you can earn, like in that Explorer program. You're showing, like, the department can see that you're, with all the distractions in the world today, you can be online, gaming, doing whatever, but you're consistent, like putting in the effort, putting in the time. If I'm the department head and I see these potential like studs that are putting in the effort and want to be a part of my department, I mean, that seems like a win, like all the way around. And the guys on the line, I'm sure, respect these kids more that have put in the effort and shown up.
Yeah.
It's my number one recommendation to any kid trying to get hired would be to join an Explorer program, as long as you're in the realm of the right age. But yeah, not all departments offer that. That being said, it took me 7 years to get hired once I turned 18, and I applied to 60 different fire departments in the meantime. I wasn't going to put all my eggs in the one basket of LA County because it might not ever happen, especially when I'm up against 10,000 people who are applying and trying to get in. So yeah, I traveled around. I tested for New York and Texas and Washington and all over the place, and got better at my test taking and my interview skills. And when the time came for LA County, I got hired, and it's the first department that wanted me, and I really wanted it, so I might have tried a little bit harder for that one. But
yeah, it's nice to be able to stay at home.
Yeah. And I think there's no like favoritism or anything like that, and all the nepotism has been dealt with. So there's not really, the only advantage I had over anybody else other than like the skills that I acquired and being comfortable when I went to that fire tower and knowing how LA County worked. The only advantage I had was being able to go and practice my interviews with people, and they didn't have like specific questions or anything, but just being in, like, people were willing to sit down in front of me and put that pressure on me and ask me questions, where, yeah, if I was just some random guy off the street, they might not necessarily spend that time with you. And then I'd be told, hey, go meet with this person. He's really good at, like, you know, coaching, you know, interviews or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's who you know, but not really, because they're not helping you get hired. They're just helping you make yourself a better candidate.
That's awesome to be able to have that, you know, to have that community within the department that's willing to support and willing to help. That's super cool. I think it probably wouldn't be too much to think that there's the opposite side of that coin playing throughout our industry as well, where people don't want to see other people succeed. We've talked about that on this show. We want to see you succeed, just not succeed better than me. That kind of whole mentality. So there's those people out there too. Are you a truck guy or an engine guy?
I'm a truckie. Yeah. So Light Force 8 is one of the apparatus out of our station.
Did you say Light Force?
Light Force.
Light Force 8. That's the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, maybe an unfamiliar term to some people. In fact, there was a cop on scene the other day, and he was talking to our captain, and he's like, "Oh, what unit are you?" And he said Light Force 8. And the guy thought he was joking, like, messing with, like, we had something out of Star Wars or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so within our department, I think there's 33 trucks, and 3 of the houses have Light Forces. And that just means you have a truck, but there's an engine that follows you and pumps you with water. And our trucks are quints, so they can pump themselves, but we call it a truck. Our station was the first station to get an aerial ladder in 1950. So that's kind of like a little piece of pride we have about our station. And then we are the only truck that has 5 people on it. Most of them have 4.
Okay.
And then with the engine that follows us, we have 2 more firefighters. So when we show up, there's 7 of us, and that's just for truck work. So I don't know how you guys do it, but that's kind of like we're rolling in pretty deep.
So even the engine guys, so I'm understanding it right. Even the engine guys that travel with y'all, when they get there, they're dedicated to truck work, not engine ops.
Correct.
Man, that's so cool. It seems like now that I hear you describe what that term, light ops, isn't that what you said?
Light Force.
Light Force. It seems like I remember the documentary that came out about the fireworks storage fire. Seems like I remember them talking about the engine always traveling with the truck, and I'm assuming that's what they were describing.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And then we also have another engine with 4 people on it, and a paramedic squad. So yeah, 13 of us total. And when a fire call comes out, everybody goes. But yeah,
that's so cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. That's like 13 people. Let's see, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be like 5 units for
Yeah.
us.
Wow.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a fun house. A lot of laughs. Very aggressive house, and I enjoy being around that sort of environment and community. Every shift is just full of energy. You're getting all sorts of personalities.
Man, that's great to hear. Great to hear.
Mhm.
That's seems to be shared nationwide for the most part. Is that the laughs and the giggles and the when it's time to be serious, we'll be serious, and when it's not time to be serious, we're not gonna be serious. Yeah, for sure. So the Williams key, please walk me through how this came about. We have red, white, yellow, green. Fire trucks come in many different colors, and they're all just rolling toolboxes that are full of things to break into doors. How did this particular tool come about in your brain?
So my background is in construction, as a carpenter, and I did a lot of commercial work installing doors, specifically doors and locks. I worked at big schools, colleges, fire stations, police stations, oil refineries, did all sorts of locks and doors. And this just kind of was a job that was presented to me in my path of getting hired. It's just a way that I was able to pay the bills. In the meantime, um, I was living out here on my own since I was 18 out here in California, and didn't have a lot of support or help. So I had to work hard, and picking up a trade was a way that I could get my hands on some tools and learn a trade that I still utilize every day, every shift, and
Yeah.
even in my personal life. So in doing that, I was able to learn a lot about how doors work, how locks work, a lot of different types. There's thousands of doors and locks, right? So you're going to get a whole lot of different combinations, and you're never going to know for sure like what a door is doing, but I have a pretty good perspective of doors and locks, and I know what should be behind a door. We never know for sure, but there might be a drop bar we can't see.
Right.
But I typically can get into a door without doing damage if I have enough time, because I can pick locks, and I've got a whole wizard bag full of wazoo tools and gadgets. But it depends on the call too. If we have a fire call, I'm not worried about preserving that door. We're just getting in, and that's where your irons come in, or your rotary saw, or your chainsaw. But if I can preserve a door, I'd like to, because I know these things cost thousands of dollars to replace, and not every firefighter understands that. They've never had their own home door broken, maybe,
Sure.
or owned a business. I owned a business for a couple years, and we got broken into multiple times, and every time a couple grand to replace it. I was always making little tools for myself before I got on the job. And one of them was a crude version of the Williams key. And I'll show your viewers. We have a pink one here.
Pink is Steve's favorite color.
And I chose pink today. This is like a special edition one, but I chose pink because I like to wear a lot of black. And
Right.
I was realizing, like, as I was doing these podcasts and these shows, like, the contrast against my black shirt didn't work out very well. So here's a pink key, Williams key. This is the standard version, and it has a shove knife handle, and then this blade side. This blade is 12 inches long. The handle is about 9 inches long. And this blade will reach behind a vandal plate or a guard of a door and toggle the strike or the slam latch, and push that out of the way. And that's probably the best feature that this can provide, is getting behind those guards. If you can visualize the strike, this is all you need some of the times, the shove knife side. So I made this originally out of a framing square, and I recommend to firefighters who can't afford a Williams key, although they are pretty cheap, just make your own. I'm not in this for the money. I'm here to help people, and I never intended to sell these. I ended up just every day on calls pulling this tool out to get us in, and before long, everybody wanted one. So it was hard for me to just make one at a time for guys, because I was like grinding them out and everything. It took some time. So I decided to have a fabricator make me a small batch, and it was like, I don't know, maybe 100 of them. Actually, probably less than that initially, maybe 20. And yeah, those all disappeared immediately, and then it just took off like wildfire. Everybody wanted one. They were working. Guys were like Johnny on the spot, on these calls, and they liked being able to quickly make access without having to pull out the irons or wait for the building manager to find the keys. Especially on these like medical calls or investigations where you're not necessarily going to find a fire, but you still need to get in and make access and look around. This thing works really well.
Yeah.
So that's where it first came about. And now we have folding versions guys wanted. So this kind of slides and collapses. I don't know if you guys can see it, but
Oh yeah, we can see it. Yeah.
So there's a nut on it, and it slides up this track and locks into place. And this will fit a little bit easier inside some turnouts.
Yeah.
Toolboxes and such.
Yeah, and we sell Kydex Molly holsters. Guys will put it on their belts, and we've sold to all 50 states, 30 countries. SWAT, police love it, and now a lot of government agencies like FBI have stopped by the fire station wanting them. Department of Justice, Border Patrol, all branches of the military. Locksmiths, really big with locksmiths. It's making their job real easy.
Yeah.
So
What-
it's just taking off. Yeah. Go
What
ahead.
was your kind of old boy moment when you realized this was turning in, whether you wanted it to or not, this was turning into something more than just, Travis, busting out some framing squares and cutting them to pieces for your buddies on the truck? There had to be a moment where you were like, oh man.
I think so. Eventually I made a website and set that up. And I think maybe the first sale was like a cool moment.
Yeah.
And I've got like 10 tools now where, like the Williams Key is the platform that got all my customers and the user base. And now I can come out with like a wedge and, just random stuff.
Right.
And people buy it. And it's always like that first sale where I'm like, oh, cool. That I made
Yeah.
something with my mind that people want and they're paying money for it. Maybe the oh boy moment though was maybe like the first like viral video or, something like that. I've got lots of videos now with multi-million views. I do a lot of podcasts now. People recognize me in public sometimes. It's grown really at a rapid rate, very fast over the last couple years.
Yeah. When did it start? What year did you start? Or when you built the website, since that's kind of the jumping off point for you, what year did you build the website?
Yeah, I think that was probably 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, during all the
Man,
all the businesses were shut down and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could probably like expand on this a little bit, and that's probably when it really took off. Was
What else is in your bag of tricks? Like you mentioned coming off the rig.
Yeah, there's multiple versions of the Williams Key. There's the standard, the folding. We got the Magnum Triple XL. This is a 35-inch solid version. And then there's also a folding version of this, which really just makes it easier for me to ship because these things are a pain in the butt. Nobody order those, please.
Yeah.
Let's see. I came up with this door hanger. So once you make entry, if nobody's home, you can leave this hanger on the door saying, hey, 911 entered your home. We had to fix a smoke alarm that was going off. Nobody was home. No damage was done. Or, sorry, we knocked over your flower pot. That's why there's dirt on the floor. Because if you come home and the fire department or like EMS have made entry into your home and nobody told you, and you notice your home is disturbed, it's unsettling. You think you got broken into.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I found these to be a really good like customer service tool. They're cheap. People buy them stacks of 100, and you just leave it on the door. Quick note, hey, we're here, and I think that goes a long way.
I feel positive it does. Yeah.
How about
Yeah.
in your pocket, like on your in your turnout gear? Do you keep webbing and a few other things? What else would we find in there?
Oh yeah. Webbing for sure.
Yep.
And that's great for, doing rescues or I like to use it to extend my ladder belt when I'm on the tip of an aerial ladder, give myself a little bit more play.
Mm-hmm.
Some cable cutters and wrenches, that's a pretty versatile tool. We're always cutting stuff or opening up. Mine is the channel lock that can turn off the gas and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
That's a good one to have.
Yeah, the lugs of the couplings, tighten those or loosen those. And then what else? I carry an elevator pick. We pick a lot of elevators, and it's a top pick, so it's pretty small, but it's able to reach up top and toggle the actuator up there. And you can also get into some doors with it too. I've been able to reach through like little chain link fences and chicken wire and grab a handle with it. I don't sell those. They're very simple to make, but maybe I should because people are always asking me for them. What else? So this is one more product I make. Let me see if I can get it closer to the thing. So this is the inward door slip knife, and it's like a credit card. It's good for sliding around the jam of a door and opening up. Just inward swinging stuff. It's a good way to check if there's a deadbolt, because if there's a deadbolt, none of my stuff is getting through it. Then you're going for your irons or rotary saw, or if you got time and have the skills, you can try and pick it. But
how's that thing work? It looked like one of those little M&M bottles on the camera. Does it open up and fall? Yeah,
I'm partnered with
there we go.
Firefighter Swipe Tool.
Okay.
And, so they send me these and we put them inside, and it's just a flimsy piece of plastic.
Yeah.
And the first one I had made out of a water bottle, and then it slides around the jam, and you come down diagonally, and you can put pressure on the door, jiggle it a little bit, and it should push that slam latch out of the way.
Sweet.
So I use that all the time. My Williams key is better for like outward swinging doors.
Sure.
So there's people buy them together a lot of the times, like a Williams key and a slip knife.
Do you sell them as a kit?
No, I don't have any kits. I probably should, but
might save you on shipping a little bit. Might save you a little bit on that shipping. Put it all in one box.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll work on that. Enough people have told me that to where I'm like, all right, yeah, I really should,
Listen to the masses.
Yeah. Another shipping tip. I don't understand why this is, but square boxes are cheaper to ship than rectangle boxes. Have you found that to be true, or have you looked into that? Next time you go to ship something, look and see what the price difference is. When they're square, they're cheaper. It must be because they stack more efficiently.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So if I end up using a box, it's usually because I'm sending out more than one key.
Right.
And I've found that the cheapest shipping is flat rate shipping through the post service. So there's none of my stuff fits in the small boxes, but the medium and large boxes, it's like $14.50 flat rate, and then the large one is like $20 flat rate.
Yeah, that's that whole if it fits, it ships thing.
Yep.
Yeah, and that seems to be the cheapest. The ones that are expensive are when I try and ship the magnums, and I have to make my own box for that. I get a 36-inch by 24-inch piece of cardboard, and I score it down the middle. I fold it in half, and I do a bunch of packaging around it. And it takes me like 20 minutes to package, maybe more sometimes. Like, it's just such a pain in the butt. So yeah, that's why I got away from these, and I'm like, I'll make a folding version and I can throw it in poster tubes, and then that's super quick. And it's been saving my knees and my back and all the packaging.
Yeah.
Right. What's it been like for you personally through the success of this company? How does it make you feel, if you can describe it? I'm sure it's probably pretty tough to describe, kind of the feeling of providing something that is being used so nationwide, well, worldwide now. Something that came out of your brain that you were able to put into a tangible object, and now it's wildfire. How does that I mean, how does that make you feel?
It feels really good. It's taken a toll on my personal time and my personal life, and I have a full-time firefighter career, right? So when I come home, I'm running this, full successful business where, I've sold 15, 16,000 of these keys at this point, and I've filled all those orders personally. Um, but I think what makes it worth it is I get this feedback and these stories from people who I was able, I'll hear like probably the coolest one, a cop was able to save a life by preventing a suicide. Like he got in quick enough and, kept the guy from jumping or whatever. Or somebody who's able to get in quick enough to render CPR to a viable,
Right.
Patient and make that difference. Whereas it was just a welfare check. So we were going to wait for the building manager to bring the keys to this apartment.
Yeah.
But somebody had the tool. So they got in, oh shoot, full arrest, and make the save.
How
So
rewarding
stuff like
must
that,
that be? Yeah.
It's hard to quantify because I don't know like all the ways this tool is being used. But I think the other, what's special for me and probably nobody else is the millions of dollars of doors that have been saved, right?
Yeah.
Like all these doors that could have been kicked in or damaged. I'm sure hundreds, if not thousands of a day are not being damaged the way that they could have been. So I think that's the rewarding part. I never got in this for the money. I enjoyed talking shop with all of the different agencies, all the different people that have questions about the fire service or my tool or the way a door or a lock works. I always welcome that. All my info is online, like email me or send me a DM on social media. I would love to talk through a door with you or answer any questions. I'm very easygoing. I love this stuff. So it's my passion, and I'm never going to tell you like, don't bother me or whatever. I'm too busy. I'm never going to be that guy.
Right.
So I like to see firefighters succeed, and I made this tool as a way to make our job a little bit of a better place and provide a better service to our customers.
Yeah, I can already think of several. See, I've been doing this for 18 years now, and I can think of so many different situations where that would be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Fire alarms is one that's coming to my mind so quickly. We're in a college town, so there's dorms, and we're growing rapidly here, on the East Coast in our little town. So there's a lot of apartments and multifamily complexes around, and then you have a fire alarm go off, and we have to wait for a maintenance man to come unlock it and all this kind of stuff. So, especially if it's a water flow alarm or something like that here, I mean, it doesn't freeze here where we are very much, but when it does, it's a nightmare 2 or 3 days after, because all the water pipes start busting and everybody's apartment starts to, get flooded out. And that's a problem that when we're getting called to it anyway, but if we can go on and get in there and wedge that sprinkler or do whatever, we can save a lot of damage to the apartments below it and whatnot. But we always got to wait on somebody, we always got to wait. So, and that's just one set of examples. There's so many of them that I can think of where it would be so much easier. It's so much more resourceful to have something else that you can use and not cause damage. And how many times have EMS requested you, Steve, for gaining entry? And that's it. That's the best. They don't need us to help treat the patient. They need us to get in the house. So if they had this, maybe they could save that call, or maybe we wouldn't have to work so hard to, try to conserve a door when we're using irons and stuff. You know how delicate that can be.
Yeah.
So it's hard. Those tools weren't built to be finessed. They're built to be robust and, get in there quickly. So that's I think you definitely created a tool and built the tool. This can serve a lot of purposes outside of just gaining entry to fight fire. That's a really cool thing. Is there any hopes for scaling in the future?
I've been dancing that line for a long time. I could have quit my job and everything and, hired staff and get a big building and all that stuff. I haven't wanted to go that route yet. I've been able to juggle both. and I enjoy juggling both. And being able to work as a firefighter gives me more insight to like current problems that we're running into, and being able to test products. So yeah, I could have scaled at this point already. And I think the thing that helped a lot as far as growth that I'm still able to manage are distributors. So I've got over 15 distributors right now, and some pretty big ones too. Like the Fire Store, for example. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're one of our distributors. And before I had like wholesale and distribution, I was kind of starting to go down that route, but I was drop shipping. So like my distributors would just like send me orders to fill, and that didn't help me at all other than make more sales, but I was doing all the work. So now I'm like, all right, we're getting away from drop shipping. You know, you guys got to order in bulk from me, the wholesale. They get a better deal, but they're taking all that labor cost away from me and my time. So that's been a fair trade. And that seemed to work really well, to where I'm selling a lot more, getting these tools into a lot more people's hands. And that work is being done for me. Like those distributors are basically like my employees, right? They're like doing all the manual labor and filling these orders, getting them out for me. So that's a way, in a sense, that I've been able to scale while still maintaining like, hey, it's mostly just me doing all this stuff, and I enjoy it that way.
Sounds like a good management decision.
Yeah.
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 Do you still do direct to consumer sales, or do you have to buy a Williams key? Do I have to go to the Fire Store or another distributor, or can I order directly from you?
Yeah. WilliamsKey.com. I'm sure. Yeah. Most of the orders still route through there. So yeah, I still, some people even like they find the business address, which is not where I live, but they think, you know, I'm there or something, and they want to like pick up in person, and I get hit up, and depending on how much I trust the person, or, you know, if like an official Instagram account from some department or some police station, contacts me and be like, oh, it looks like you're nearby, you know, can I pick up a couple? Sometimes I'll work that out with them, but like it's pretty rare, but sometimes I'll do in person. But I definitely don't need to. It's more like I'd like to meet the customer or something like that. But It's got to be somebody, not just Joe Schmo off the street. It's got to be reputable source, and you know.
Yeah, you got to be careful these days. There are traps everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You can get the keys personalized, right? I thought I've seen some of that when I was scrolling through your Instagram.
Yeah, I think that's been a big seller because people love to customize stuff for gifts. I'll see a lot of rookies like order this key for their whole station when they finish probation, or, you know, somebody finished the tower and a gift for them. You know, somebody will want to give them a gift. So yeah, we customize. It's a little bit more expensive to get a custom engraving. And then we can do just text, or if you want to pay even more, we do a logo. I don't like doing that because I have to edit all the stuff myself. But yeah, if you pay the money, I'll put a logo on there too with your name. And yeah, it's really popular. It's definitely, I've done, so I take a photo of every custom engraving I do, and I put it on the story on the Instagram. So that's a good way to see if your order's like coming through for any of you listeners. Like if you see it show up in the story, like, yeah, your key's done and it's coming to you soon. But I've been able to count how many custom engravings I've done that way, because every time I put in the story, it ends up in a custom album, like a highlight, and it'll hold 100 photos, right? So I'm up to like 1,800 custom engravings.
That's so cool.
Point. Yeah.
I only know that because it counts it for me.
Yeah, that's so cool. I've
done a lot of them. So.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to get you to do one more. We got to get you to put Primary Complete podcast on one, so we can hang it up here in the studio for sure.
I got to get you some stickers too. I see all the stickers back there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're sticker fiends, dude.
Yeah.
I love stickers.
Yeah.
Coming out with stickers like almost every week. Like I love doing the creative side, right? The pop culture stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love stickers.
Yeah, we're sticker fiends as well.
That preservation of the door comment that he made, I feel that like when we're having to force a door that's a nice like a wood door, like you can tell somebody made this thing. It wasn't just in a factory somewhere. Yeah, I feel guilty.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is nice. Like
Yeah.
I like that the need to preserve. Maybe it was the time in Haiti with the low income and something that was built needs to be preserved and protected. There's not a Walmart you can go buy it.
Yeah, Trevor, you've got
Right.
a different sense of value placement, if you
Yeah.
ask me, on things. Like, most of us firefighters, I'm guilty as well. We get a fire call, the patient always seems to be, or the problem always seems to be the number one priority, and it should be.
Yeah.
But there's things we can do in that process, to serve the people, our customers, if you will, to serve them a little better. And if it's keeping, we got several $1 million homes in our community, and just the view of something that costs money. I'm sure that has to come a little bit from your early days and being in such these poverty-stricken countries and places where you place value on the things we most of the time neglect is way different.
Oh yeah. I grew up. I think as a kid, I felt like we were wealthy because where we were growing up was very poor. But in retrospect, we weren't that well off. And in places like third world countries, you have to fix stuff if it breaks. Like there's not, like you said, a Walmart or a Home Depot where you can just go and buy something new. And if there was, you probably in those countries don't have the money to do it. So you're if you have a car, your car's tires have like 50 patches on them, and you just keep plugging the holes and patching, the stuff as it breaks, and you're not getting new stuff. You're just prolonging the life of everything that you have. So yeah, I think it would definitely come a little bit from that perspective. I think the worst thing that can happen that I've seen is you get the address wrong, or you end up like kicking down the wrong door.
Why you got to bring up old stuff?
Steve has one of those stories.
Yeah.
And now you've like, grandma's door is broken and she's scared and like she never called 911, and now it's just a whole mess. It makes the department look bad. It makes the fireman look like he doesn't know what he's doing. It was not warranted at all, and it's just from mistakes are made. So I'm like, when I hear those stories, and it's common, like it happens more often than you'd think.
Mm-hmm.
Had they used a Williams key, at least the door wouldn't be broken. Yeah, maybe you're embarrassed because you went to the wrong address, but at least you didn't do damage,
Yeah, in Steve's defense, the Williams key wasn't created. There was no inception of the Williams key when his incident happened.
No.
But it is common. I've heard several stories just like that, the exact same way that you just described it. Even throughout our department here, that's 911 dispatchers and all that. They're humans too. They get stuff wrong. So, but they're not there to receive the consequences of of getting it wrong.
Yeah. And even if you don't really care about the door, like if you're not, like we appreciate doors, but if you're not compassionate to that, the ability to leave the house securable when you clear the scene and they can still lock their door, that's value.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we'll have to secure doors we break, and that takes time. That's another 20 minutes, and let's get out the hammer and the nails and find some wood, and it turns into a whole thing where maybe we want to get back to the station and not be on scene as long as that.
Finish your meal or prepare for the next run, whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, Trevor, it has been an absolute pleasure, brother. Thank you for getting up so early and taking some time with us. We'll be sure to post your website and social stuff all in the links below. In this show, it should come out next week. probably on Thursday. Our show's there on Thursday. I try to get them out by Thursday. So should pop up on Thursday. It's been a pleasure, man. I hope you get scaled, and I hope that you get some personal time back in your life, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you. I hope so too. It's been a pleasure being on the show. I'm going to go back to bed now. No, I'm just
Heard that.
Heard that. Heard that. What's your shift work like? Did you get off this morning, or you go back tomorrow? Or?
No, so I'm actually off indefinitely. I'm having a kid in like 2 or 3 days. So I took this week off so I could be here for my wife.
Heard that.
During her most pregnant phase. And then I'll be off for a couple weeks at least. I'm going to play it by ear.
Nice.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
congratulations.
normally 10 shifts a month minimum.
Yeah.
And it's never just 10, but yeah, that's our shift.
Good.
Works, so.
Tell her from two strangers, congratulations. We wish y'all the best of luck with that. Your world as you know it is fixing to change. That's for sure, brother. I have 2 kids. Steve has 2 kids. They're the greatest thing on planet Earth for sure, but God bless, they'll try your patience.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's nothing but joy, man. I assure you that for sure. So we appreciate it, brother. We'll let you get to bed or get back to comforting that wife. Good luck to you, man. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Do us a favor, slide over to iTunes or Spotify or YouTube. Leave a 5-star review and leave a comment. If you want to support further, share it with somebody. Ask them to like, subscribe, and share it with their friends. If they can benefit from it, we need to spread it out. The more you like and comment, the more visible we are on all these platforms when people are just searching Firefighter Podcast. It'll come up Primary Complete a little bit quicker, and they won't have to dig quite so far to find us. We really appreciate that. Visit the website. It's a pretty good site. It's got all kinds of fun links and stuff. You can also find the shows there on the website as well, and that's www.primarycompletepodcast.com. Thank you all so much for your support. Again, we love you. Thank you for helping us make conversation great again.